Welcome to Growing 101 with TrueLeaf Market. We're happy to have you here on a new episode. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about growing zones, what you can plant in your zone, some tips and tricks to help new gardeners, and just those who want to learn more about it. Make sure you watch till the end because we're going to share some important information that you don't want to miss. We're going to start by talking about what a growing zone is. There's a lot of misconceptions about what it is and the information that it provides gardeners, so we're going to debunk it right now. A growing zone is outlined by the USDA, and they've created a map here that helps you understand what your growing zone is. You can even look it up online based on your zip code and know exactly what it is within about 5 degrees. So this is the map. You can see that it's outlined in colors that help you understand which areas are warmer and which ones are colder. So you can see here in the mountain regions, you're gonna have lots of blues and purples, and this correlates to really cold winter temperatures. And in warmer areas throughout the south and on the coastal regions, you can tell that the temperatures are much warmer. Something that's really important to understand about the USDA growing zones is that they are made up by your coldest winter temperatures. People don't realize that the USDA growing zone map doesn't really take into account other growing factors like rain, elevation, humidity, or the various factors that growing near the ocean can contribute, whether it's additional rainfall, the humidity, storm patterns. All of these things can affect what you're able to grow or how you're going to treat your garden differently throughout the year. The biggest reason you might want to reference this map or USDA growing zones in general is when you're choosing perennial plants. Perennial plants will often die once winters reach a certain temperature range. This can mean some plants may be on the border of surviving or dying where you live, depending on a number of other factors. But the USDA growing zone map is a great place to start. To identify what zone you live in, you're gonna want to locate where you live on the map, identify the color for your area, and then come over to the legend here. Once you find your color, you'll find the zone assignment here in the block. So this, for example, is zone 6A. The zones are divided up by A and B, which is simply a 5-degree difference. That's not a huge difference, but if you're really trying to grow a plant that is kind of on the edge of liking a certain temperature or will be killed by a certain temperature, sometimes those 5-degree differences can be important. If you live on the West Coast or near it, you may want to also reference the sunset climate zones. This is another set of data and maps that reference a little bit more information besides just the lowest temperature experienced in a region. It can also take into account humidity and warmer temperatures, wind patterns, along with other common factors that happen because you live near the coast. Now that we know what the USDA growing hardiness zones are, we want to talk a little bit about what you can plant. First, let us know what zone you're in by commenting below. We want to hear where you're from and what kind of conditions it is that you're growing in. To first understand what you can plant, you want to know what your growing season is. So your growing season is the time between your first and your last frost dates. That time allows you to know how many days you have for your plants to mature and to be able to gather a harvest. Your first frost date is going to be in the fall, so that's going to be coming up here soon. You want to understand when that time frame is, but also know that it's only an approximation. So your first and last frost dates, while you may see them referenced in conjunction with growing zones, can vary widely. This is because of the other factors like elevation and wind that is going to push those dates forward or back to your specific location. The best source for this type of information is going to be your local extension offices or other local references. In addition to your first and last frost dates, you're also going to want to consider if the summer heat is going to affect your plants. In addition to your first and last frost dates, you're also going to want to understand how heat can affect your plants. Here in Utah, we experience high summer heat, which means that there are certain plants that just won't grow well. They will either bolt, which means they flower prematurely, so you're not going to be able to gather the harvest that you intended, or certain plants can become bitter because of the high temperatures. To battle this high heat, you may want to consider using a shade cloth or other means of shade like trees that have empty canopies that allows sunlight to come through while providing a little bit of shade and lower local temperatures to where you're growing. Make sure you're growing warm season crops like squash, melons, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant during the time between your first and last frost dates. Other crops like cool season crops such as carrots and your brassicas like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, all of these can be grown past or before those frost dates. But you may want to also consider using season extending tools like winter tents, garden cloches, cold frames, and other tools that help you to extend your harvesting time. This means that you can plant a little bit earlier by sheltering your plants from the cold spring winds or rains, potential frost, because those coverings are going to keep the area right around your plants just a little bit warmer. Additionally, in the fall, as we have coming up, you may want to consider using these tools to help you extend how long you can gather a harvest. This allows to protect from, those brisk frosts that can pop up out of nowhere that will still allow you to gather your harvest because you're sheltering them from those cooling temperatures and just extending the season a little bit by a few weeks. On our website, you can find some helpful seed finder quizzes. On the seed quiz, you're going to enter your zip code. This will help us know what your growing zone is and understand a little bit more information about where you're growing. Additionally, you can select other characteristics like how big is your growing space, or what color and size and type of vegetable it is that you want to grow. You can also choose your seed type. So if you want organic seeds, hybrids, heirlooms, so we can give you the type of seed recommendations that you want. You can also find the same information on other parts of our website, such as the category pages. If you go to the category page for the certain type of vegetable that you want to find seeds for, you'll see on the side that there are several buttons that you can select that help narrow down what the recommendations are to you. You can choose the same things you can find in our seed finder quizzes, like what growing zone you're in, the color of vegetable you want to harvest, the days to maturity, and the seed type. Seed assortments like this one, the 14 variety fall and winter seed assortment, can help you avoid the common mistake of growing the wrong thing in the wrong season. If you're gonna start some of these seeds in the mid to late summer months, you're gonna wanna use a seed starter kit. These seed starter kits allow you to start the seeds ahead of time while the summer is still hot. Then, as the temperatures start to cool down, you can transplant them outdoors where they will then thrive and enjoy the cooling temperatures that allow them to have a sweeter flavor and generally just grow better. As you've learned about the USDA Growing Zone map, you might have heard that it was recently updated. In 2023, which is this current map, the map was updated using additional data points. That simply means that because we have more data points and more locations contributing what their low temperatures are, we're able to have a more accurate map that helps you make better decisions. Don't forget to comment with your growing zone and the information that you learned from this video. We want to hear also what topics you would like to hear more about for future episodes. Like and subscribe to this video and our channel so that you don't miss another episode.